I encouraged Kyle, who had been writing poetry for many years, to read his poems for the first time in public with our performance group. We were blown away by their quality. He's now preparing his first collection, which we as Dempsey and Windle Publishing will edit and publish this year. Kyle's about to marry his British fiancée, but he remains essentially true to his American roots, as you'll hear. There's more to say about Kyle, but Kyle, come and say it yourself. Thank you.
Good evening. It's fantastic to be here and hear you all read. And I'll just get right into it.
You right, son.
This one doesn't need an introduction. It's called Between Buildings. As children, we sought new hiding spots, explored between houses, down paths, under benches, through gaps in stone walls and wooden fences, between churches and tombstones and stained glass and daylight, sheds and gardens. Between buildings were strange, unseen, flowering vines hid in summer. Unpicked fruit trees blossomed, and no one noticed us. They never even looked. They wouldn't have seen us even if they tried. We had found the gaps to dance and sing in. Peace in cities is in the wanderings down side streets, alleys that lessen the humming of the universe, where graffiti can be appreciated and life can be seen, felt in every window and on every balcony, families sharing meals and someone sitting out enjoying a beer and a smoke, listening to the radio. Those urban plants do their best to clean the air between buildings, the only stillness left. Then there was us in Venice. It is better than they say. Being lost in Venice means anything you wish it to. There is no childhood pretending needed. The apartment we stayed in had a neglected courtyard between four walls, overgrown, cracked, forgotten, rusty-barred balconies and ripened vines, tattered, drying clothes out on lines. The sun was trying to touch it all. The climbing plants grew where it was possible to grow, in the gaps between brick rows, out of the beautiful sinking city, and rose like our heart fires rose. At night, to look between buildings, into that city-slivered sky, chasing what can't be seen, perhaps a star or a place, some dream in the gaps that dreamers dance between what's been built and what's been felt, in the veins of the city or of the heart, in the center, in between it all, at night, there is always hope for a small glow of faint warm light. When I was stateside for Christmas, my friend let me borrow his big American truck, which felt good, and I drove out to the Appalachian Mountains because I'm from Washington, D.C. And I just went out to the Blue Ridge Mountains for the day. So this one's about that. It's called Out to the Blue Ridge. I took a friend's truck out to the Blue Ridge in early winter light. I let the engine slowly roar down Skyline Drive, absorbed into the cold, smoky blue of those mountains, them and I in our best winter light. I forgot how quiet it all is. I hiked up Mount Marshall, saw the blue-tinged landscape, the winter blanket clouds, saw the seconds strung out into minutes. Frozen hikers' footprints in the ground, how they would thaw and go, like any imprint we make in this life, here and gone. Content in all that remains unseen, those who whispered here once, who passed by on foot, on horseback, by car, by chance, everyone needing to see this, one at a time, like how good friendships are made, one at a time, how mountains are crafted, one at a time, how any life must be lived, one at a time. I'll give you this truck, my friend won't mind. He'd want you to drive out here alone, as I would. Wind down the Shenandoahs to your own mountain song. I only request you pass the keys along when you are done, so that alive or long dead, or on foot, or on horseback, or without knowing each other, we have all shared this open road, one at a time, leaving only our frail, fading imprints in the time we were given. This one's called Feeding the Animals. It's about my grandfather who was in a prison camp and starved, and then he overfed everyone and everything around him when he got back. I haven't eaten myself to death yet, so it's called Feeding the Animals. He couldn't sleep when the animals were cold. He knew the cold. He knew the twisting knot of going hungry and the shuffling around a camp like a stick with legs. Food became love. His first wife died from being overfed. The deer were fat, the turkeys too. The dog even died because we could not eat all the leftovers at meals. When my mother was going through the divorce, we ate fast food. She was sad, and Happy Meals made us happy. We drank in private, but family time was food. We ignored the issues in the room. We ate them. We ignore a lot of things. Some of us died fat, some of us died drunk, some of us died sad. We were all fed to be happy kids, yet still all became crying men. This one's rhymey. Sometimes I like to rhyme. It's called Trapped Sparrow. It's just about just a really difficult year, a couple of years ago, and I rescued a little sparrow from, it was caught in a string in a nest. That was one of the best things I did that year, I think. Anyways, it triggered this poem. It's called Trapped Sparrow. That year I only saved one thing, a sparrow caught on fishing string. In its nest it spun around in panic circles above the ground. I looked around to see my friends along the ground, to see my dad in dying steps, to see sad truth I'd soon forget, to see my brother crawling low under all the light, burnt and slow. Desperate to stay myself, I needed to save something else. I cupped the little sparrow close. I cut the string and gave him hope to fly again as a real bird, and hoped his flapping wings were heard by anyone or anything. That bird, my only song to sing. This one's called Wrong or Right, and I've memorized it before, but not tonight. I'm not going to risk it. It's just about making decisions. It's called Wrong or Right. Heavy as it weighs on the mind, to find my life wreckage trail, choice after choice, until I have found myself here, in the ashes of my decisions. Alan Watts, the philosopher, would say, there are no wrong decisions. Have you ever seen a misshapen cloud or poorly designed wave? Of course not. It's nonsense. And I think it must be true. I've never seen a bee fly into the wrong flower or a spider spin the wrong web. Then again, Yeats, one afternoon, shouted into a pit. Hearing his own echo and talking back to it, troubled, he would lie awake night after night and never get the answers right. And I think it must be true. When my dad was too drunk, he would light a cigarette the wrong way around. And after 2 drags of smoking filter end fumes, he would realize his mistake. God damn it, shit! That must be a wrong decision. Is it wrong I live in England and not the States, where so much of my family have fought in wars, so I could be free on that soil? But would it have been wrong to stay, to not follow love across the Atlantic? I do not know. I have faltered from my own self-destruction too many times to know that when there are moments of peace, I enjoy them. When asked at restaurants, what would you like on that? I say everything. I say everything. Every drunk disaster, every misshapen decision, poorly designed web, every mile on an open road with the windows down, every beautiful day, even if they are mostly gray. Every star that stole my stare, every wave I've ever seen that made part of the mind sing, there is no wrong, no right, only being. There's only us. There's only everything. I didn't want to trouble you with a second poem tonight about frost. Sorry, but it's just been a frosty week. Lots of frost. Oh, yeah, I wasn't gonna read it, but I will. It's called Frost Covered. Up early, when the autumn frost breaks in lower angled light, and morning fields look blessed by frozen silver. At least 100 birds awake, vocal, cheerful, conversing about some secret I could never know, giggling as they flutter around each other behind the colors of the remaining leaves that would soon be gone. They would all soon be gone. That lovely autumn screen drops away to bareness, contorted wooden bones, nothing to distract from the stripped down things we become, the nakedness, the what we once were among beauty and birds and harvested fruit, when all there is still and covered, like us, in a dusty, frozen frost. This one's called Coward, and also rhymes. It's called Coward. I guess just times I felt like a coward, or kind of things you doubt, decisions you do or don't address. My old friend's wife had a black eye. He and I went back to youth. I thought, he's still just a nice guy. She brushed it off when asked the truth. A lot of people knew it then, but I never asked him to know, so I let it pass. Maybe I'm a coward, though. My father drank too much at night. I never spoke up out of fear of starting a father-son fight. I gave him money for his beer. A lot of people knew it then, but I never asked him to know, so I let it pass. Maybe I'm a coward, though. My brother found an awful lover. She dragged him down a dark dream path. One snowy night I yelled at her. She went away but soon came back. A lot of people knew it then, but I never asked him to know, so I let it pass. Maybe I'm a coward, though. My love, she says, why do you drink too much and sometimes go and smoke? It's hard for me to stop and think when I wish to drink and drift and float. A lot of people know it now, but I don't ask myself to know, so I let it pass. Maybe I'm a coward, though. I have one more, and I wrote it this morning, so it's as new as it gets. It's called Never Having Been Here. If I sat here forever on this hillside and rotted with this bench like an old stump, moss-covered and forgotten, would people know I had ever been here? What do people know? They keep trying to build statues out of stone and bronze and steel, only to rot away like a stump, moss-covered and forgotten. If you stay longer than me, and I am a stump, as we all become a fallen tree, I will tell stories to the air, hope birds hear them and carry them to you, lightly sing them to you in a voice more pleasant than my own, give you directions to come sit by me on that branch. It may be painful to know I have become forgotten air, but worse, if we loved, never having been here. Thank you. Woo!